Hi, today in the video I'd like to cover something that might be helpful to a number of people. Getting into the way you might be changing to be able to generate more revenue in that 12-month period of time, you might have to learn some new things. And that's always a challenge because everybody's busy. But I thought I'd share with you something that I learned from Darren Hardy a couple years ago in the class I took with him. And it's got a very strange name. It's his 115313030 I'm reading it from a piece of paper down the bottom. And when I first saw this, it's like, you have to have some sort of an advanced degree to be able to figure out what he was talking about. But then when he describes what those numbers are, it makes a lot of sense. So here's the way Darren goes and learns new things and new topics. So the first number one is set a goal. What exactly is it that you're going to try to learn to do? And if you're looking at some of these new technologies, one of the things that I would be sort of careful about is, unless you're already a technologist and this is something that learning new things like how to do videos and such is in your core, that part of it you might want to outsource. But there's some other things you might want to understand and know, like how to use the various pieces of equipment and how to set up a format to do a video, or how you might want to set up a course that you would put online. And that's things that you're going to learn. So Darren's first thing is set a goal. His second thing is, inside that goal, pick a skill that you're going to really try to learn and master. The next thing is, in dealing with this new skill, you get the 5-3-1. And Darren basically says, go into Amazon and go into the area where you're trying to develop your skill and search for books and find the top 5 books that when you read them make sense to you and buy them. The next thing you should do is go find 3 CDs or DVDs so that, with books you're reading, and then the next thing you're doing is you're watching. So that's another input of how you receive information. And you get CDs or DVDs on that same subject. And then the one is go to one live event. And again, you go to a live event and it's on that subject and you start meeting people. And now that's a third way of being able to get information on the subject. He follows that with the numbers 30-30. And for him, he sets aside 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes at night. And he has a fairly standard way of using it. He'll read or he'll watch a video or one of the parts of the CD for 30 minutes in the morning. And at night, he spends 30 minutes reading the 5 books that he's selected. So that gets you to a fairly good point where he's basically saying that, look, now you're getting to a point where you're really trying to learn more things and do more things. He follows that by 10-10. Now, this is a little bit off the subject, but not necessarily. What Darren says is you really need to, as you're making more money, make sure that you're taking care of various things. And like most people, he's really into showing gratitude, and I follow that, and we decide on giving 10% of our gross revenues to some charity or charities. I happen to like veterans organizations because I happen to be a veteran. But the other 10%, he says, invest in yourself. And that's very, very important. And he mentioned that when he was in his real estate days and he was making $150,000, it was not difficult for him to figure out how to invest $15,000 in himself to make himself better at what he was doing. But he said if he's making $7 million, he's still going to do $700,000. So you really have to have that commitment to to investing in yourself. And one of the things you'll find as you get higher and higher and learning more and more inside an industry or technology, that there are some very high-end programs where you can really maximize what you're learning, but you have to be able to invest in it. And then I'm just checking to make sure I don't have anything else in here. So that's kind of his program, and it's something that you might want to consider. I've used that program when I was learning some new things, and I found it at first, I thought this is really a very big accomplishment to even think about. But then I realized how much you can learn in a very short time. His whole idea is that, we should be doing less learning and more studying. And you really need to keep up on things in new technologies. The other thing that I would recommend that you're doing this for is this. There is an idea that when you're looking at something new, or you're looking at something that's working in your business or something you want to do in the future, we tend to think that everything's evolving linearly, when in fact it's actually evolving exponentially. So you really need to keep up on what's happening. You might be sitting and saying, I have a great idea for an application, maybe some sort of video app, but you're thinking about it more in linear terms, and you spend a lot of time and a lot of effort and potentially a lot of money, and you come up with your product, and as you're getting ready to release it, you find out there's 15 other products that are about a year ahead of you. So you really need to keep up on things, find out what's happening in the future, give some sense of making sure that you're going to be very good at what it is that you're learning and learning new. Follow Darren's approach, and you'll get really smart in the industry. If you have any questions about this, as usual, you can leave something in the comment section, or you can drop me an email at jfbutz@gmail.com. Until next time, you take care.